Hello, my Stampin' peeps. How are you today? I have something fun for you. We're going to make this card right here. And I've added some wow to it. It's really exquisite in person, really kind of fun. A little bit of bling. And I'm going to show you some tips, share some tips about adding some wow to your cards with vellum and dry embossing on vellum. So are you ready to get started? All right, this card is made with the Beauty of Friendship stamp set and dies. Beautiful Trees dies. And you can see here are a couple of the dies that I used from that stamp set. And we've got a couple of others. These are actually dies, and the little birds are a die in the stamp set as well. So it's really a fun stamp set. I made this as a thank you card. It does have kind of a winter feel to it. But today we're going to make it a happy holiday card, because I think it could be either. This could be a thank you for Christmas or just for winter, but it also could be a happy holidays. So let's get started. My name is Linda Edwards. I am with Crafty Heron Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I love to share my cards with you and help you explore your inner creativity. All right, so to get started, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. You are going to need, well, just a little bit of ribbon. This is the, let me think, what's the name of that? The metallic mesh ribbon. Isn't that pretty? It's got a nice sparkle to it. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe a little. So we're going to use some of that. We also have a card base. This is thick basic white. Oh my goodness. It is cut at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. We have two pieces of Misty Moonlight. This is 5 1/4 by 4. We have one piece of the Designer Series paper. It's 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches. This is really beautiful paper. Here's the other side. Fun, fun, fun. This paper is really a lot of natural themes to it. I love trees, and I do love this paper, the paper in this set. And then we have another piece of basic white. It's cut at 3.5 by 4 3/4. And then I've already die cut, to speed things up. I've die cut a piece of vellum, and you'll need about a 3 by 3.5 inch piece here. And I've die cut the tree top out of that using this die. And this is gray granite, and it's cut at 4 inches by 3 inches. And I've cut the tree trunk and branches out of that using this die. Done that already. And then you'll need a couple of pieces of scrap. This is Misty Moonlight and another piece of basic white scrap. And that is for our sentiment. So let's get started. I always like to start by folding my card base and scoring it and set it aside so that I don't accidentally get my inky fingers all over it. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. And then the next thing I like to do generally is to start my stamping. So there isn't a lot of stamping with this card. We will stamp the inside. This is the basic white. And since this is a photopolymer stamp, I am going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat to do the stamping on this. And because I'm going to go off the paper a little bit, I don't want to get the ink all over my Stampin' Emboss mat. So I am going to put a little piece of scrap paper underneath it. I am using Misty Moonlight ink, coordinates with our Misty Moonlight paper. And you can see that I've done quite a bit of stamping already with this, and I was doing some ombre kind of stamping with it. But this is one of our distinctive stamp sets. So it really is, just with one color of ink, it's very interesting. So I'm going to stamp off. Yeah, that's what I thought. I've got the wrong stamp on here. that's a beautiful stamp, but what I want to show you, let me get the other one out of here, and I'll show you the difference between them. So this is it's a two-step stamp, so that's the second step, but I want to do just the base here. So this is the base of that stamp. Let's see. All right, here I'll show you the difference. So you could do this as a two-step, but I do want to stamp it off. Look at that. Gives it all of that interest. And here I'm going to put it in the bottom corner. Like I said, I wanted to kind of stamp it off. And there we go. I just wanted it to be a little bit lighter. Look at all of that detail with just one stamp. And if you wanted to add a second layer on that, you have that second stamp to do that. I just think that that is lovely. Very lovely. So that's the first one. The second one is I'm going to use Happy Holidays. I did already stamp that. This Happy Holidays, I stamped it and then I die cut it with one of the dies that came in that stamp, or in that set, in the Beautiful Friendship. But the Happy Holidays is actually from Poinsettia Petals. Poinsettia? Do you say poinsettia or poinsettia? Either way, this is a great stamp set. It carried over into the new catalog from last year. Just love it. I think it's not a bundle anymore, but it is still there. So I die cut the Happy Holidays, and that's all the stamping that we have to do. Oh no, that's not true. We are going to do some stamping on the tree. So this is gray granite, and I don't know if you can see in the paper. I'm going to show you this kind of up close. This lovely paper see all these little kind of blotches on it? I thought that was really, really pretty. And there's a stamp in this stamp set that has those same blotches on it. So I wanted to repeat that on my tree. I'm going to turn this over so you can see that. And so I'm going to use the gray granite ink. So I'll get kind of a tone-on-tone stamping, but I am going to stamp off because I didn't want it to be too dark. Now, some of this tree is going to be covered, so you won't see all of it, but you certainly will see the trunk, and you will see some of it through and behind the vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it just kind of randomly. See, I forgot that one. Forgot to stamp it off. I think it'll be okay. I think nobody will notice. And, you know, the beauty of making your own cards is they don't have to be perfect. That's part of the handmade. I have learned not to sweat the small stuff. So I hope that you are inspired to do the same. Okay, so just a little bit more interest there. You can see the little bubbles, I don't know what you call them, the little splotches that are on that tree. Okay, so let's get started. I'll bring my card base back, and I will go ahead and make the inside. We are going to layer the inside like this. And the reason I wanted to do the little bit lighter stamp off is because I just felt it matched better with the Misty Moonlight cardstock on the all around it. So I'm just going to take some adhesive, whatever your adhesive of choice is. Go ahead and use that. And I do like to use Tombow. I feel it gives me a little wiggle room. I'm much more accurate lining everything up, and you see how I kind of just hold it in my fingers. I haven't quite put it down yet. I look at it, and now it's down, and I like to turn it over, and we're gonna do the same thing with the next layer. Get it, no, don't worry about getting it too close to the edges because I don't want it to ooze out, and you also don't want to use too much glue. There we go. Okay, I'm telling you, this is a really quick, easy card, but it's got some wow to it, which I really love. Sometimes I like to do clean and simple, and sometimes I like to step it up a little bit. We're gonna step it up. Okay, so now I'm going to take this beautiful designer series paper. Reminds me of kind of a mist in the woods. I don't know if you've ever been skiing out west in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains or anywhere really. Just, you know, sometimes the mist is glowing through the trees, and that's what this reminds me of. Of course, we're in the middle of summer right now, so I don't mind the sense of coolness that this card brings. Get started on my Christmas, can you believe it? All right, here we go. I'm gonna just put this now, this layer, add that to the front of the card. There we go. There we go. Okay, card base is done. So the next thing we're going to do is take and we're going to layer this. You know, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do as, you know, designing a card, I always kind of play around, and like I said, some are simple and some I just felt like this card just kind of called out for something a little more interesting. And I didn't really want to wrap this around because I don't know why. I just felt like having it loose was something different. Hadn't really done that before. So I just kind of cut that about the length of the card to cut out a little bit more. I don't want it to hang over the edge. There we go. It's just going to kind of sit right there. And I know that I'm going to have layers on top of it. So that's where I will put that's where I will attach it. So let's take our sentiment, and I just wanted to layer that. It's gonna be like that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of adhesive behind the Happy Holidays, just right in the center, and attach those to the blue Misty Moonlight. Just like that, just with a little bit of adhesive, kind of just lining it, centering it, right? Move that up a little bit. Let's see. What do you think? I think that looks centered. Okay, and then I'm going to attach that with dimensionals. It does not look centered, does it? It's funny, it's easier to see here on the back, so line that up with dimensionals. And I know I said I was going to show you some dry embossing with vellum, and we will get to that. That's the last thing that we're going to do, because I want you to see the difference between just, you know, the straight and vellum, which is beautiful, and then adding a little bit of dry embossing to it. So as I said, I know that I'm going to put that somewhere here, so I am going to use a glue dot underneath the ribbon. So take your pick tool, and I use glue dot is my adhesive of choice when it comes to ribbon. And I know that this is going to be, you know, like right about there. So I'll just put a little glue dot. I was kind of just watching on the tree where that looked like it might be. And I'm just going to put that right there because this is going to cover it as well. So I think that's going to go right about there. So that's also going to hold that side of the ribbon on. All right, so now we're going to assemble our tree. If I leave the tree just as it is, it'll kind of stick up over the top of the card, and I don't really, you can see kind of how that is. So I'm going to trim some of that off. I do want the bottom to go all the way down. I'm going to have it overhang a little bit. So I know where that's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and attach a few glue dots to the back of the tree, and then afterwards I'll trim off the top there. So once again, my trusty glue dots, I'll put one there. The tree doesn't need to be, you know, with glue dots, but I just found it just was easier. I don't know. You could certainly just use liquid adhesive. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll put a little bit of liquid adhesive there too. But either one would work. Just a little. I'm kind of just looking for an area. Come on. That's got a little bit of thickness to it, right? You can kind of see that. tree will be secure, especially up here where it's going to be on paper. You know, the lower part of the tree is actually over that mesh, so that's part of the reason why I wanted to use the glue dots. So I'm kind of looking side to side. I don't want it to hang over on the side here because the this is actually gonna go wider. This is a little bit wider, this top of the tree here. So I'm gonna make sure that the bottom of my tree is a little bit over to the right. There we go. You can see it's I'm kind of lining it up to the edge of the designer series paper. All right, there we go. So the glue dots go over the mesh, the ribbon, so that's secure. And then there's a little bit of liquid glue up there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just trim off a little bit of this top branch here, these two top branches. You're not gonna see them anyway because this vellum is gonna be over it. And I don't mind that they stick up above the vellum, that's okay. So that's beautiful. I've just got the vellum. If I put that on, kind of, you know, I'll lift it up a little bit. You can see the branches through the tree. It's very pretty, but like I said, I wanted to make this a wow card. So I thought, what could I do to just bring it a little more interest to it? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna dry emboss. Get that out of the way. So I'm gonna bring in my Big Boss, and we are gonna use the Ornate Floral Folder to emboss that vellum. So I'm just using, you know, everything tells me what to do here. It's a 3D embossing folder. You see how I mark mine so that I know Ornate Floral 3D. I just use a Brother to do that, the P-Touch. And my embossing folders tells me what to do. So it's a 3D embossing folder, base plate 1 and number 4 on top of that. So I'm just gonna take this piece of vellum and put it in the embossing folder. It does not matter for this. It doesn't really matter where it goes. I don't have to line it up. When you're embossing, you do wanna make sure that the fold of your folder is going into the machine first. All right, let's hope I don't. Oh no, I knew that was gonna happen. I'm gonna hit I don't wanna shake the camera too badly. Okay, run that through. There we go. All right. And this little guy, just get that out of the way. Handy. Close it up. Get it out of the way. And watch the magic. Look at that. Can you see that? Is that so cool? It looks like snow. It raises the vellum, and it creates this kind of, I guess it breaks down the fibers, and it creates this white kind of area, and it makes it look like snow. I just thought that was so cool. So look at the difference, right? Just doesn't that add just a little bit? Such a simple thing to do, and it definitely adds some wow. So I am going to attach that layer. Let's see, so do I want to attach it with, I think I'm just going to use glue dots. Again, with vellum, kind of like ribbon, I like to use glue dots with my vellum. I feel like it just holds a little bit better. And I do have a few areas that are kind of larger that'll hide the glue dots. Now, when the vellum isn't embossed, sometimes you can see the glue dots through them. But because of the embossing, I can put them in some areas that don't show. So let's see, we'll put one there. And again, I don't need a lot. I think 3 little spots, kind of spreading them out, is gonna be just fine. I got one there, one there. Let's see, let's put one over here. Yeah, it's gonna be good just the way it is, but all right, let me go ahead and just put one there. I know they're a little close together, but that's okay. All right, so now I just want to make sure that I have that kind of overhanging a little bit. And there we go. Again, cute, but as I asked myself, I could do better. It still needs something else. So these little birds come in the set. I've already die cut them, but I left them in the die because I want to show you something else that I did for them is just take a marker. I want to give them an eye, and you could certainly just see, you could do it, but you can actually locate the eye perfectly if you keep them in the die cut and then use your marker. And that was just a black Sharpie, a permanent, the ultra fine point. But you could use your Stampin' Right markers too. As a matter of fact, I almost did that once too. You could use the navy Stampin' Right marker. This ultra fine point gives that eye, it makes it a little bit smaller. So anyway, so I'm going to put those two birdies up on dimensionals. Let's see. Yeah, he's got a little eye. Just gives him a little more interest. And so I'm going to put them up on dimensionals. I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. You can see that I've kind of cut it all up. And I actually have to even use it smaller than a regular mini dimensional. So take that. And these cute little birdies, the die kind of cuts a little wing in there too. So kind of bring that wing up a little bit. And I'm going to put the dimensional right there. Press it down. And so this one's going to go over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of looking for an opening. Well, it doesn't really matter. But it is kind of nice. I've put it in a little opening so that it, again, adheres all the way through and kind of is another point of attachment for the vellum and the tree. So one more. Whoops, that one went flying. Have to find that one later. Do you end up with stuff all over the craft room? Oh my goodness. When I first built this room, I was going to put carpeting in it. Oh my Lord. It has hardwood right now. So thank goodness that I changed because, I don't even want to think about what the carpeting would be like if I was, if it was here. Stuff all over it, right? It's much easier to clean up the floors, the wood floors. Okay, and then the other one, I'm going to put, there's kind of a little opening there between the vellum and the tree, and I'm going to put him in there. Cute. All right, one more thing. Just had to add a little bit of bling. I felt like the basic rhinestones were perfect. They work off of the ribbon, the mesh ribbon, the metallic. So I'm going to add some rhinestones. Let's see. Where do I want to do that? Yeah, maybe one right here. And another one right down here. Two. I usually like to do three. Maybe I'll put one down here as well amongst the metallic ribbon. I could go crazy. I could do more, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. That's always the hard part, right? To know when to stop. These are just those basic rhinestones. Love them. You could color them with your blends, the alcohol marker. But I think for this, the clear shine is just really perfect. So there you go. And then you could write a sentiment in there. You could add a sentiment, a happy holidays, and add a sentiment in there if you wanted to. One last thing. I always like to decorate my envelopes, so I want to show you what I did with this one. I used the dry embossing on the envelope. See that? So I am going to show you how to do that because it is a little bit trickier when you're embossing an envelope because it's bigger and the way the folder goes through is a little tricky. So let me show you how to do that real quickly. Grab that folder. So this is the Evergreen Forest embossing folder. You know, I could have used the same one, the Ornate Floral, but really I didn't, you can see more that it's flowers when on the envelope. And this I felt was perfect with that Designer Series paper, right? Because of the trees on it. So what I did, and I'm gonna show you, is I lined it up so that the fold of the envelope, see that fold there, is kind of on the end of the folder. And then I just kind of watched where the trees were. See, like the height of the tree there and there. And now normally, of course, I said you have to put your folder, the fold through your embossing machine, right? But you can't do that this way because the envelope's sticking out. And if you put it under, that gets in the way as well. You can just do it this way. You just put it through your machine like this. And when you hear it clunk, clunk, you know, as it goes through, you'll be fine. And then you back it back out. So just an exception to the rule when you're dry embossing to go ahead with an envelope. You can still do it. I've done it many, many times, have not ever had any trouble with my embossing folder or with the embossing folder being damaged. So be aware of that you can do that. It's not something I would do on a regular basis. You know, with every piece of cardstock, I would be more careful to do it the other way. But with, you know, the occasional envelope, you're just fine. So there you go. Isn't that pretty? So subtle. And I'll tell you, somebody gets that in the mail, they will be so excited, right? Look at that. There'll be a little hint, a little clue of what they're going to find inside. And you can even kind of see the little happy holidays through that. So I hope you enjoyed my little video today. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you can comment, if you want to follow, if you want to see more videos, follow my Facebook page. I will also have some videos on my YouTube channel. And I look forward to inspiring you to unleash your inner creativity. Again, my name is Linda Edwards. I'm with Crafty Heron Designs. If you do not currently have a demonstrator and you would like to purchase any of the products that we used in this video today, please visit me at my store, craftyherondesigns.stampinup.net. All of these card stamp sets and dies are available. The Big Boss, the paper, it's all available through Stampin' Up. And I would love to be your demonstrator. Until we meet again, happy stamping.